Hey everyone, I just wanted to talk a little about endgame gear progression and how I'm planning on approaching it on my Adele. So I just wanted to give you a little window into my thought processes on future upgrades and like what I'm going to do. So, if you're paying attention to my last video, you'll actually notice that there are two really big upgrades that I haven't made yet. So the first thing is the emblem. Duh, I'm wearing it right now. So this is my previous emblem, right? 24 attack, 9 damage. I was just waiting for a Serene emblem, and obviously I have it now, because this is not that much worse than 3-line attack. Obviously, yes, it's damage inflated, and it's like 24 attack. It's effectively like 26%, 27% attack, and it just really wasn't worth like the 50 bill average that's expected to hit the 3-line attack, especially because I was already clearing all the bosses I wanted to clear. Like I was already clearing Kalos with this, I was clearing Serene, and the Serene emblem is like actually a pretty high drop rate. It's about 1 in 10, and I've been clearing it for about a year, and everyone else in my party has one, right? So I was expecting the emblem soon, and it did in fact drop, and I got a 3-line, and this is a lot better than my old emblem, particularly because it's my 4-set pitch boss, so I get 5% crit damage and like the other benefits from the pitch boss set. So this was a really big upgrade that I made very recently. And the other upgrade that I skipped actually is the top potential. So it's actually only 27% strength instead of 30% strength, and like everything else is done, right? Like everything else is either 2-line prime or like perfect 3-line. Except for this, because top is like, obviously tops are the worst potential to do in the game, but also because it is eventually going to get replaced by Eternal Gear. I already have one right here, spoilers. So like it's gear that's getting replaced, and it's like 30 bill to 3-line it, and it's like for a gain of like 2% stat, because all stat is a little better than just like 6% all stat is a little better than 6% strength. So I'm getting like what, 2% strength for 30 bill. I'd rather not. I'm clearing all the bosses I need to anyways, right? So in terms of upgrades, I'm planning on doing like soon, like as soon as I can. That's a car speeding by. The biggest thing actually is Pink Bean Yeti title, because I use Root Abyss Master. The Pink Bean Yeti title is like about 1 star better, and it's like it's what, 40 hours of work, which is a lot of work, right? But for me, 1 star for 40 hours is a really goddamn good deal. Yeah, it's just the last time it came around, and like the previous times, I just really wasn't interested in doing it. Thank you. Yeah, I just wasn't interested in doing it. I got like my Pink Bean to 193, and I got so bored. I couldn't even finish it to 200. It's only like a few hours away from there, and I couldn't do it. And I didn't even start the Yeti. I'll do my best to do it next time. It's just the event like puts me to sleep. It's really just not fun for me. Yeah, it's just not my kind of thing. And obviously the next big upgrade I can do is Eternal Pieces. So I got my hat to 21 here, and I'm going to be getting the top and bottom relatively soon. Obviously the hat's not done, it's 21 stars. The flame is so close to being like amazing. It's only pretty good, but you know, you take what you can get, right? Yeah, so what my plans for the Eternal Gear is, since I got this to 21, it's basically usable the moment I swap to 2-set, or not 2-set, but like 3-set, right? Well, the moment I get another Eternal piece, I can swap to this, so I'm planning on swapping to it in 5 weeks when I get my next piece. Just cause, and I'm just gonna be getting like the top and bot to like 18 stars, and then I'm gonna be rouletting them as I get more pieces. Just cause like starting these things suck, man. They're and they're guaranteed, so you're gonna get it eventually. And it's gonna be at the same speed as if you just like full sent it to 22. Next upgrade I'm planning on is 285. You'll see that I'm actually 1 level higher than my last video. I've been training a lot. Oh, my chat box is here. I meant to have that out. But yeah, 285 is my current goal that I'm working on right now, especially because we're getting the EXP nerf in New Age, right? But 285 is pretty good because you get the extra strength from leveling up, obviously, but also because we're going to get the symbols in New Age. So we're going to get like the two, like Shangri-La, the 280 area and the 285 area, and just getting access to the symbols is a lot of damage, and it's pretty good. So, you know, damage is damage. And obviously 285 also means you don't do reduced damage to Cowling anymore, and you're probably going to need to like level up a little bit more for the next boss. But I'll get to that when we know what level it is. So for future upgrades that I'm not really like thinking about, and like they'll happen when they happen, right? The biggest thing is more pitch boss. So like obviously I'm forced at pitch boss right now, and you can see that I have a little bit of a graveyard right here. Pitch boss, you get it when you get it. It's like it goes 22 or it doesn't, right? Like 21 pitch boss is like either barely better or worse than its equivalent, so you just don't swap to it, which is why it's like 22 or boom. So you just can't really do anything about it. If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't go, then it doesn't go, and that's just the game. That's just, you just wait for pitch boss. And then alongside that is, once I can swap to like 6-7 set pitch boss, I am going to swap to either a Daybreak Pendant or a Sweetwater Pendant and break my Force Igolics. Force Igolics, obviously really good, but you do get enough ID that you can eventually swap off of it, especially if you're an Adele. Adele has a good amount of ID built into the kit. So I'm either swapping to Daybreak, which is pretty good because you'll maintain the 2-set here, especially if you swap off of the Twilight Mark. You'll get the 2-set for Daybreak, which is 10% boss. It's not bad. Or you get the disgusting stat flex of Sweetwater Pendant, which is what I'm personally leaning towards. My Sweetwater Pendant, the transpose is pretty bad, as in like it's really bad. I was planning on transposing another one, if I'm gonna be honest, and I just never got around to it because transposing sucks, right? But this is still like only 0.1% final damage worse than the Daybreak Pendant, if not better. So I'll see what I get around to. If I run out of like Sweetwater coins, then I'll swap to Daybreak, obviously, because I'm not going to do any more Sweetwater or Mercy stuff. It's just not worth your time. Another upgrade is after 285, I do want to hit 286, more damage. And I am going to hit it like relatively soon, just because like you're gonna need to farm so much for 6th job, right? It's such a disgusting grind. But a bit more reasonable, but I'm still not really planning on doing, is 2-line priming my gear. So obviously I have a few 2-line primes, like this weapon is really good. I have this thing here, and like technically this is 2-line prime, but we don't really talk about that. But like 2-line primes are pretty good. If I 2-line prime everything, it's gonna be about 9% final damage, which is a big upgrade, right? Like that's good. It's just the cost is like 1 trillion mesos, and that's pretty steep. Obviously, a lot of it is like a lot of it is weighted into the secondary and the emblem here. Those are really expensive to 2-line prime. I know a bunch of people that have spent several hundred bill and not hitting, and still not hit. So it's just not particularly appealing for me. But like if I like 1 2-line prime on a piece of gear here is like 0.3% final damage ish, approximately. It kind of depends. But it's in that realm. So if you get everything, and then like the weapon, and obviously the weapon and secondary are a bit more than 2.3% final damage, everything adds up to about 9% final damage when I ran it through a calc, which is pretty good. Also flames, my flames are not perfect. This thing is so close to being so good. I rolled it earlier today. Like if that all stat was like anything but 3, anything but 3, it would have been crazy. It would have been like over 1 trill if it was a 6. Like, oh my god. But we don't talk about that. My flames, in general, they're pretty, like, mediocre. This is pretty good. This thing's pretty good. But, like, everything else is, like, not great. This thing's really bad because, like, it's temporary gear. I'm not gonna spend, like, 20 bill on getting a good flame on that one. It's a waste of time. Like, this thing's alright. This thing's alright. The weapon's pretty good. But, like, everything else is not great. And the Golics is not great either. Even the boom pitch boss stuff I have is not great. Like, this is, like, kind of pretty mid. This is... No, I was working on this before it boomed, so... But, like, my flames are pretty good. And getting anything past here would be really expensive for, like, a really small gain. Like, I'd be spending, like, 30 bill for 3 stat. And that's just, like, way less, more, like, it's more efficient for me to do double, like, 2-line primes, which I'm already not really interested in doing, right? So it's just flames. Flames suck, man. They're so inefficient. They really need to make them better. But you know, it is what it is. Right. Yeah. So like, I could upgrade my flames. We'll see what I get for Eternals, because Eternals are much more permanent than like anything else I have here. Or except for, yeah, no. Basically, they're more permanent than anything else I have. So maybe I go for some crazy flames on them. Like even this, like I could roll over this, but. It's not happening anytime soon. Not with my income the way I spend. And the last thing that I was planning on upgrading on this character is my IA. So originally I was planning on swapping this to skip first line, either buff duration or abnormal damage second line, and boss for the third line. So you can drop crit rate on classes that use a crit rate IA when you have high enough Legion, just because you can, it's more efficient to have blocks into crit rate than it is to have blocks into buff duration. If you have crit rate in your ability, because like unique crit rate is 20% and unique buff duration is 38%. So like 1% buff duration here is worth like 0.5% crit rate here. While 1% buff duration in your Legion is worth 1% crit rate in your Legion, so it's better to put points into crit rate there instead of here. And also I can put a few more points in my hyper stats. However, with the introduction of 6 job, that's completely changed. I'm gonna get rid of this Meso IA probably, and I'm probably gonna swap to drop first line because that's the kind of shit that Nexon wants from me. And I'll probably get rid of this crit rate line as well, and either swap it with like a Meso unique or a boss unique or abnormal status or buff duration. We'll really see, but it's just, I'm keeping the farming IA forever, I guess. I was planning on swapping off it eventually. I have like 9 mil on just from like farming. You can tell it's been a while since I've rolled on this character, but it's farming time. Oh boy, aren't we excited? So the rest of the things I'm talking about now are going to be like either off-character upgrades that I can make or things I just don't really have a plan for. So in terms of off-character upgrades, it's basically just Legion because my links have been done for forever. And honestly, most of my Legion is done already. Like I have Kana done, I have my crit damage links done, I have my Mercedes done, I have my Demon Avenger done. The only like actual damage Legion I don't have done is my Wild Hunter, which it's still like, it's less than the other damage ones. Obviously I'm still gonna do it. It's gonna probably happen within the year. Not like within 1 year. It might happen during New Age, it might happen in the major patch after, I'm not really sure. But I'll see. Like it's pretty minor, right? And the next thing I can do is 9.5k Legion, which would get me like 7 or 8 blocks into buff duration. So it's pretty bad. But it's like, it's not that bad. It's like, it's really not that much work. And I could, like, obviously I can get the strength blocks done as well, but that's really, really inefficient. And I think I'd rather just not. But 9.5k Legion, it's like definitely gonna happen eventually just because like you're gonna level up, right? Especially with the amount of EXP dailies give you now. Holy moly, it's pretty free, quote unquote free. It's gonna happen. So in terms of things I don't really have plans for, the biggest thing is I'm not going to upgrade my familiars anymore. I do have a few familiars in my storage that I could be using, but I'm going to use them on other characters. My familiars are already really good. 95% boss damage is pretty stinking good. And any more upgrades are going to be really hard to make, honestly, because I need to either get 35s or 40s. And I also, like, if I really need to, I even have a IED familiar right here, right? Like 40 IED, so I just really don't ever like need to upgrade my familiars anymore. And my badges are also basically perfect. I think they might be perfect. If I'm missing anything, it's like 3% IED from some like trash impossible to get badge. Like this thing, I could get, I guess. Right? Like it's just so, it's so niche. And it's really not gonna happen because it is like, especially because with the 6th job, we're going to be farming in Grandis and not in Arcane River anymore. And unless they give us Grandis familiars, like, you're never going to get your familiars done. I don't know, it's honestly going to be a really big problem for new players. They're so fucked. Also, I'm not really gonna go for a 4th damage ring. I use a Ring of Restraint as my 4th ring, and here's technically my 4th damage ring. You probably saw me wearing this in the video. This was the stat I had. 63k, wow, I'm so strong. But like I basically only measure myself in strength in my roar, just because 4th damage ring sucks, man. Like it just sucks. You never use it. You basically only ever use it in like dojo, right? Like I also, like I'm not the type to ring swap, which is why I haven't gone back to Oz to get a weapon jump. And like even if I'm like ring swapping, I'm gonna swap between a weapon jump and a roar. I'm not gonna swap between like a weapon jump, roar, and a 4th damage ring. It's just so inefficient, and it's just not particularly good. So I'm not gonna do it. But it is technically a damage up. I just don't like playing like that. And the last thing is I'm really not planning on getting a Glowiness Heart. I kind of was originally, but with the introduction of New Age, we really do need drop gear. So I need to spend all my Golix coins on making like 22 superior Golix drop gear, which is just like stupid to think about, right? But, however, like I could be spending that coin. I was originally planning on spending those coins on getting Glowiness Heart. It's just Glowiness Heart kind of sucks, man. Like it's barely better than like a 22. Yeah, it's barely better than like 22 superior. You swap it in so late. It's just not particularly good. Like if you have an ET, right? Like you'd wear ET, roar, superior, and the slime ring, and you swap off the superior onto Glowiness Heart when you swap off of Golix, which requires you having PB, right? Like it's just so much. And Glowiness Heart sucks to go for, and I don't want to think about it because it sucks. And yeah, that's kind of all the upgrades I've really been thinking about on this character. There's probably a few more things I could think about. It's just like when you're thinking about late game upgrades, there's a good chance that the game is going to have a significant change before you actually get like even half of your upgrades done. Like for example, I'm probably not even like I'm not going to get my Pink Bean Yeti title, which is like a high priority thing, before like New Age comes out, right? Because it's like event locked and it's the kind of thing that happens at the start of the year. So like my priority is going to change, and I don't know if I'm going to want to do it anymore at that time because it might just be better to farm. Like the game changes so much, you can't really plan that far in advance, but it is a fun thought experiment. It's a little fun to think about, and it's just yeah, that's yeah. That's kind of it. Hope you enjoyed watching me just like talk about my thought processes for gear upgrades, and see you in the next one.